it's Robin, also known as Ro, and I am back again with another video. So as you can see, I am in my baby's nursery. I have not done the nursery tour yet, but I do plan on doing it soon. If you hear a little bit of noise in the background, that is the baby mobile going. My daughter, you may hear her as well from time to time. She's joining me for this video. One second. Okay, I had to get her together really quickly. So Rose is here with me. That's my daughter. She will be joining me for this video. You all will not see her, however, in the video, just because I don't really want her on YouTube, not at this young age. If we do ever put her on my YouTube channel or make a YouTube channel for her, we want her to be the one to ask to be on it and to ask to make her own channel or whatever. I don't want to put her on there without her consent. So that's what we're sticking to right now. But anyways, I'm here to give you guys an update, or basically just let you guys know the story. Basically just to let you guys know the story of my birth. Well, my daughter's birth. She just pooped. Let me clean that up and I'll be right back. We're back, and I just had to change Rose's diaper really quickly, but she's a little fussy. She wants to be held right now, so I'm gonna hold her, but again, I'm not gonna have her face on video until she gets a little older, just so, you know, it's like an invasion of privacy. I want her to make that choice for herself when she gets older, whether or not she wants to be on YouTube. But anyways, so back to the premise of this video. I gave birth officially 4 weeks ago. Hey, what you talking about? Hey, mommy's doing a video. Remember we talked about this? Remember? So yeah, officially it's been 4 weeks. I gave birth on the 26th.
Hot dog again.
Huh?
The hot dog again.
They're ready already? Okay, I guess I'll take another break. Okay, I'm back. I just finished eating. My husband came in here and told me that there were hot dogs, so I had to go eat before they got cold. So yeah, I'm back, and hopefully now I'm interrupted and we can proceed with my birth story. So my birth story is super, to me, it's super crazy, and the whole experience was a little traumatic for me. Everything happened so fast, literally within 3 hours. Like, I went in labor and my baby was out in 3 hours. Everything was just super fast, super, to me, rushed. It felt unplanned. It was just crazy. So I'm going to take you guys step by step from the beginning. If you want to hear about my birth story and everything that happened, what took place prior to, what led up to me giving birth, then stay tuned. Okay, so for those of you guys who have been tuned in to my pregnancy journey, you guys know that I've been dealing with fibroids throughout my pregnancy. Also, my baby was breech. So for those two reasons, we decided that I was going to have a planned C-section. So I was scheduled to deliver via C-section on May 28th, which was a Friday. I was going to be 39 weeks and 2 days. My mom was supposed to come in town the Saturday before, or Sunday, the Sunday before my delivery. So she would have been here about 5 days before I delivered. Somehow, some way, she booked the wrong flight. She booked the flight for the wrong day. And instead of her coming in on Sunday, her flight was actually Tuesday. So instead of coming in the day she was supposed to be, she wound up coming in on May 25th. So, and it was a late flight. So I picked my mom up from the airport on May 25th. Her flight landed around 10:35 p.m. So I got to the airport probably around 11:30ish, and 10:35, yeah, because she had to have time to get her stuff. No, I was at the airport before 11:30, but I think that's the time that she got into the car, like around 11:30. Because she, she had to get her bags and all that stuff. So that whole day leading up to, I have pictures. I'm going to insert a couple pictures throughout this video, so just so that you guys can see. So I'll probably show you guys screenshots of text messages. I'll show you guys pictures, different things. So yeah, I got my mom got into the car, but throughout that entire day, I was experiencing Braxton Hicks contractions, which wasn't out of the normal because I had already been experiencing Braxton Hicks contractions for weeks and a couple months at that point. So I knew what they felt like. They didn't hurt. They came, to me, they weren't regular at all. They just kept coming like how they normally do, like just randomly. And there was one point when I was in the car, I probably had about 4 Braxton Hicks contractions earlier during the day on the 25th, like in the afternoon, way before my mom even got here. I forgot where I was coming from, but yeah, I had some Braxton Hicks in the car, and I didn't think anything of it. So it just was what it was. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, you know, just regular Braxton Hicks, nothing to worry about. So there was no pain associated with my Braxton Hicks contractions at all, which is why I was not concerned. So fast forward, later that night, my mom got here, and yeah, so I picked her up. I picked her up. I think she was in the car, like I said, around 11:30. My house is about 40 minutes away from the airport. I don't remember experiencing any Braxton Hicks when I was in the car with my mom. We got to the house, and I had been nesting, which is what a lot of people told me that was what was going on. I realized that was what I was doing. I had been cleaning up excessively a lot for like couple weeks, but I'd say about a week before my mom got there, I had been like just cleaning up like randomly. Like I kept getting up and cleaning probably in the middle of the night. It was like 1 a.m. sometimes, or like if I just couldn't sleep, I would just get up and go clean the kitchen, or let me get up and just do this or just do that. And it's like my house isn't dirty. We never keep our house dirty, but I just wanted to make sure that everything was like clean, and that clothes were folded, and I just wanted everything together. I'm kind of OCD sometimes when it comes to things like that. Like I hate clutter. So now that my baby's here and I have less time to do it and things are getting like a little disorganized, like it stresses me out. But anyways, yeah, so I was cleaning a lot that week, cleaning a lot that day. Also, for those of you all who know, I do have like a side little floral business. So I had an order for some floral arrangements because there's a wedding coming up in July 10th exactly, and I was working on that floral order so that it could be done before the baby got here. So that day I sat down and I bust out or those 2 days, the day that my mom got here, the day before, I sat down and I did, I think it was 9 centerpieces. I put together 9 centerpieces, 10 boutonnieres, and yeah, so I'll insert pictures of those, not the boutonnieres because they're not completely finished, but I'll insert pictures of the centerpieces that I did, and then I also took a picture with my big old stomach. I'm going to insert that picture as well. So these pictures were all taken a few hours before I picked up my mom. I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth. Anyways, fast forward, me and my mom get to the house probably about 12 o'clock, 12:30, let's just say 12:30. We got to the house around 12:30. So my mom hadn't eaten because she had been, on a plane for hours and stuff. So I had some food in the house. We both sat there and we ate. I was hungry just because I was pregnant. So we both sat in the kitchen and ate. Then she was like, okay, she was going to get ready to go to bed because she had to get up in a couple hours to start working because there's a time zone. So she was going to get up in about 3 or 4 hours, I believe, to start work. So she went to lay down and everything. I decided I'm going to clean the kitchen. So I started cleaning the kitchen. It was around 1:30 at that time, I remember, when I was cleaning. And then I was just doing I was doing other stuff. And then I took a shower, got ready for bed, got my night clothes on, and I got in the bed. And I was just trying to, fall asleep. It was very, very uncomfortable the last couple weeks. It got really, really uncomfortable for me to sleep while I was pregnant because I was so big. I kept getting hot throughout the night. My pregnancy pillow just felt like it wasn't working anymore. I had to start using a bamboo pillow that my husband had bought for himself, and then I started having to use it. Couldn't sleep on my back, could only sleep on one side, and that side was hurting, and it was horrible. So anyways, I was trying to get comfortable. My husband, he works overnight, so he was not home. He actually got off of work. He was scheduled to get off of work at 4 a.m. So it was about 3:30 when I laid down at about 3:35. Yeah, I laid down about 3:35 after I showered and everything. I started dozing off, finally dozed off. I dozed off about 10 minutes. Now, let's say I dozed off about 10 minutes. And then my water broke at 3:47 a.m. I will never forget the time. 3:47 a.m. my water broke. So I was probably laying down before 3:35, but I had fell asleep around 3:35 because I was only asleep about 10 minutes and then my water broke. So yeah, so I probably laid down probably about 10 minutes before that because it took me a little bit to fall asleep. So my water broke, and I will insert a picture of that because it was a lot on the bed, and what was on the bed wasn't even all of it because it was steady, it just kept coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. It would not stop. So when my water broke, I was terrified out of my mind because my mom had just gotten there. But mind you, my mom is a nurse and she used to work in labor and delivery and she used to work in a NICU, so she was cool. She was in the guest bedroom. I was scared. I felt like I couldn't scream, but I was like, oh my gosh, like my baby's supposed to come in 2 days. My baby's coming now. And I was just like, oh shoot. And I picked up my phone. I grabbed my phone and I called my mom and I was like, Mom, my water broke. And she's like, okay. Now, what did I say? I don't even think I said that. I was like, Mom, get in here. My water broke. Get a towel. I remember telling her to get a towel. She came some towels. She came in there first and she got some towels. And when she came into the room, I was sitting on the bed and I was just like sitting like scared. Like she said she could see on my face that I was terrified. And I was just sitting there like, oh my gosh. And she was like, oh, Robin, it's okay. Calm down. It's fine. It's okay. So she got me some towels and I was shaking. Like I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember all I could say was, oh my gosh, for a while. I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, my water just broke. Oh my gosh. And then I was like, I need to tell Terry. So, cause my husband was still at work. And mind you, it was 3:47 a.m. He was getting off of work at 4 o'clock. So I walked to the bathroom. My mom got me towels. I put it in between my legs. I walked to the bathroom because as I moved, every time I moved, more water would just gush out. And when it originally came out, it felt like, say if you have a pool, like an above ground pool, because I used to have an above ground pool when I was growing up. And when my dad took it down, he got one side open and all the water just flooded out. So that's literally how it felt when my water broke. It felt like the floodgates of heaven just opened and it was just like just all came out at once. And it scared me because I was half asleep and I jumped up as soon as I felt it like happen. It felt like a pop and then and I was like, oh my gosh. So anyways, I made it to the bathroom, sat down in the toilet. Well, the master bathroom is within our bedroom. So I walked to the master bathroom, sat down on the toilet, got my phone. I was sitting there shaking, like text my husband in all capitals. I'm gonna put a screenshot. I texted him like my water broke. I think I called him first. I think I called him a couple times, but he was at work, so he couldn't answer. He was about to get off though, so I knew he was gonna be off soon regardless, so it was gonna be fine. So I texted him. I said my water broke. I don't remember if he texted me back or not, but I'll see in the text messages later. You'll see when I post a screenshot. And then he wound up calling me a few minutes later, I believe. And I don't know, he was saying, I don't even remember what he was saying, but he was saying some stuff and asking me questions. And all I remember is telling him, you need to get here fast. Like, you need to get here quick. Like, just hurry up and get here. I think he probably asked me, did I call the doctor or something? I don't remember. My mom told me to call the doctor, so I did. But I already knew the doctor, because I had a feeling. I kept telling my best friend, I was like, I'm just scared that I'm going to go into labor early. I kept saying that. I was like, I'm scared I'm going to go into labor early before the C-section. And my husband's mom also said that she thought that I was going to go into labor early before the C-section. And I just didn't want to, because if you know me, you know that I'm a very planned type of person. Like, I need things to be organized. I need things to go according to plan. Like, I literally have things like planned out to a T. I have and the craziest part is, you know what? This should also be in the text messages when you all see the screenshot. I sent my husband the birth plan, the C-section birth plan, the same night that my water broke. And I sent it to him probably like an hour or so before. I don't know how long before, but I sent it to him and I said, hey, print this out, because that was going to be his last night at work. So I said, print this out and make 4 copies, because I wanted to have extra copies, because I wanted to give it to like the doctor, the nurse, like, here's the plan, like, this is what we're doing for the C-section. So I told him to print out my C-section birth plan. Oh yeah, when he called me, he told me that he didn't have time to print it out. Once he saw that my water broke, I guess he just dropped everything and left. And he was like, I didn't have time to print it out. So it's like, okay, whatever, it's fine. I know it, like, I have it in my phone, it's fine. So bad choice, because I wish that I did have it printed out. So next time I will make sure that it's printed out at least a month in advance, so I can have a paper copy with me, because when we got to the operating table, I couldn't even remember the daggone birth plan. Like, it was crazy. So anyways, I'm sitting there on the toilet. I'm just sitting there shaking. My mom's like, come on, you got to get up. You can't just sit here. You need to get back in the shower. You need to get ready. And I was just like, I didn't want to move. Like, I was just so scared because I was just leaking everywhere. And I was like, it won't stop coming. I was like, it won't stop. It won't stop. She was like, Robin, it's fine. That's what happens. That's what happens when your water breaks, but you need to get into the shower. And that's what the doctor told me too. The doctor told me, you know, take a shower, come in, and yeah. So by the time my husband got, I got into the shower. My mom helped me into the shower. I was so scared. I was in the shower. I still had my shirt on. Like, I just took off my pants. Now I think about it, it's so funny. I was so terrified, and I was just like shaking, and I just took my pants off, and I just walked into the shower, and I was like, because we have like a walk-in shower, so I just walked into the shower, and I was like, my shirt's still on. So anyways, I think I took my shirt off. I think I took it off. I don't even remember at this point. I believe I wound up taking it off. And so yeah, I showered, and then when I turned the water off, because my mom was in, she was helping me out, so she came in there and she's like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And I turned the water off, and I was like, I'm still leaking. Like, I don't know why I thought that me being in the shower, everything would just stop, and it didn't. And my mom was like, because I turned the water off, and she asked me a question about the sound. She was like, she's like, is that your water still breaking or whatever? Or is that the amniotic fluid or whatever? And I was like, yeah, like I was like, it's still coming out. She's like, okay, it's fine. She's like, here, I'll get you. I was like, I need another towel, because I needed a towel for my body plus a towel for down there. And she's like, well, you just need to get some pads. You need to put on some pads, and you need to get dressed because we need to go. So I was scared to get dressed. I went and sat back on the toilet. And I was like, I'm just gonna wait for Terry. My husband. I was like, I'm just gonna wait for my husband. And so I was sitting there. I put lotion on and everything, but I didn't want to put on a pad and then soak through the pad and then have to change it. So I sat on the toilet until he got there. I put my dress on, but I didn't have, and I had my panties on, but I didn't have them pulled up or anything with the pad, because I wanted to wait till right when we was about to leave to pull it up and just go. So he got there, he came in, I was sitting on the toilet, he opened the door. I believe in my mind this is what happened. I don't even remember if this is exactly how it happened, but I feel like I was sitting on the toilet when he came in. Honestly, everything is such a blur. Like, it's crazy. Everything is such a blur. So I don't for sure know, but I think this is how it happened. That I was sitting on the toilet with my dress and lifted up, of course. And he came in, he opened the door. He was like, are you okay? And he had on his uniform. I was like, you need to get dressed. And I was like, we need to go. And he's like, but baby, I didn't do my hospital bag, which I have been telling my husband for weeks, get your hospital bag together, get your hospital bag together. And he kept saying, I'm going to have it together. I'm going to have it together. He's like, don't worry. Day of, here I am in labor, and your hospital bag not ready. So next time we're going to make sure that hospital bag is together, or I'm going to have to just do it myself, because again, I like things done and ready to go. So luckily we did have the car seat in the car. That was in the car. That was all good to go. We had my hospital bag was in the car with my stuff and the baby stuff. I made sure I had that done. That was in the car ready to go. We just had to get, he had to get changed out of his uniform into some regular clothes, and then he had his hospital bag halfway packed. I'll say that it wasn't completely unpacked. He had it like halfway packed, and so he went, grabbed a couple more things, and he's like, okay, I'm ready. So we have 2 dogs, so he made sure that they was fed, I believe, or made sure that they went out to the bathroom again. And then we got the stuff. He got the stuff in the car. We walked to the car, but before we got to the car, that's when I started having contractions. So with the contractions, I didn't know how hard it was going to hit me, because originally I didn't want a C-section. We had to have the C-section because of health related issues with the fibroids and her being breached. But I wanted to do it completely natural. I planned on doing hypnobirthing, where I was going to be kind of like in a hypnotic state and not have to use any pain medicine or anything like that. I said if I wanted any pain medicine, I was going to ask for Tylenol, and that was it. I just knew that I was going to be able to handle it. But baby, when these contractions hit, oh, no, there's no way that I would have been able to do it naturally. There is no way. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, Jesus Christ, like just thinking about it, it's traumatic. Like, I can kind of laugh through it now. I'm kind of laughing through the pain, because honestly, the whole situation was traumatic for me, because one, I'd never been through it. Two, I was scared out of my mind, because my thought process was this: oh my gosh, all of the fluid left out. I don't know if my baby is going to be okay without there being any amniotic fluid in there. That was number one. Number two, She wasn't on a monitor because we're at home. So I didn't know if I'm like, I don't know if she's breathing. Like, I don't know if she's okay. I don't know if she's moving. She wasn't moving around. I couldn't feel anything. So I was terrified on my mind for those reasons. So when I started having contractions, I was like trying to breathe through it when my mom was telling me to breathe through it. And I was just like, that's the best I could do. And I didn't even, the thing is, I didn't even practice breathing. I didn't even know how to practice, or I didn't even know how to breathe through contractions, because I just planned on not having them. I was like, well, I don't need to know that because I'm having a scheduled C-section. So I didn't learn how to breathe through contractions. I didn't, I was practicing hypnobirthing for a while, but then once we decided 100% on the C-section, I stopped practicing hypnobirthing. So that was out the window, and it didn't even come to my mind when I was having the contractions. I was sitting there like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my God. Like that's all I could do. And I was just sitting there and like, just like, oh my gosh, and like just going back and forth like this, like bent over. And I was just like, please just like, don't say nothing to me right now. Like just, ouch. Like it was just hurting. So I probably had two or three contractions in the house. Then we got into the car, and my contractions were coming when my contractions started coming after. Okay, let me make this clear. Like I said before, I was having Braxton Hicks contractions throughout the day, which wasn't irregular or anything. Didn't raise any red flags. Once my water broke and I started having contractions, I don't have the app on my phone anymore. I wish I did so I could show you guys how quick they were coming. But once my contractions started in the house, after my water broke, they were coming 2 and 3 minutes apart, like 2 and 3 minutes. And then sometimes it was spread out. The max was like 4 or 5 minutes apart, but it was never longer than 5 minutes apart. And it was probably only 5 or 4 minutes apart, like 2 or 3 times, but they were basically like consistently 2-3 minutes apart. And that is also what scared me, because again, this is my first pregnancy, and all I know is that usually they say when your contractions are 5 minutes apart, you need to go to the hospital. And I'm like, oh my God, my contractions are freaking 2 minutes apart, 3 minutes apart. Like I should have been at the hospital by now. So that's all I was thinking. And I was just like, how long have I, my thought process, how long have I actually been in labor? Because how is it that my contractions are this close together, like back to back to back? So I was so scared about that. We got into the car. My husband told my mom, this is their first time seeing each other, because my mom lives in a different state. My husband was at work, so he came home and he's worried about me. We got into the car. He's like, oh, hey. So he's like, you ready? So he said this gonna be, he said something about this gonna be the first time you see me have to drive speeding or something like that. And so yeah, my husband was flying because his other thing, we moved down to the country. So there's a hospital close to us, but that's not where my doctor is. I've been going to my doctor and my OB for 7 years, the entire time I've been here, because I go for my regular yearly exams and stuff. So I've been going to her since I moved here. So I'm most comfortable with her. And I said she was going to deliver my baby. Plus she's a Black doctor, and I wanted a Black doctor to deliver my baby, just because, everybody doesn't know this, but basically, Black women are at the highest risk of maternal and fetal death, because when they are in the hands of non-African American doctors, or just when they're giving birth, period, just because they don't receive the same type of treatment that women of other races receive when they're giving birth. So I was 100% having my baby by my doctor. And so yeah, my doctor was in the hospital up north in North Dallas. So we had to drive 45 minutes. I think my husband got there in 35 minutes because he was speeding. He was doing probably 90 the whole way. But mind you, by then we got into the car. So water broke at 3:47. He probably got home around 4:30 because he got off of work at 4. He left work a couple minutes early. So he probably got home around 4:30. I think we was in the car by 4:20. And we was at the hospital. We had to be at the hospital by 5:30-ish, something like that. I gotta look at my phone through my text messages and see. I may have told someone. I know I called my dad and I told my dad, hey, we're on the way to the hospital. The baby's coming soon. But the exact time we got to the hospital, I don't know. But I know by the time we got to the hospital, my baby was out in like an hour. So it had to be around 5:30, 5:45, because my baby was born at 6:46 a.m. So my water broke at 3:47. a.m. The baby was out by 6:46 a.m. But I'm jumping ahead. So let me bring it back. We speed in. We're driving up the road. We get to the hospital. We make it there. By then, the whole time we were in the car, my contractions were just getting worse and worse, and they were talking to me, and I'm trying to time them. I couldn't speak while I was having the contraction. I just I don't even know what noises I was making, but I know I wasn't speaking. It was hurting so bad, and my body started shaking. Every single time I had a contraction, my body would shake, and that was crazy. So I started getting really scared with my body shaking, because I didn't know if my body was shaking because I was scared or if it was shaking because of the contractions. And then once I realized it was shaking because of the contractions, that's when I was like, okay, I don't know if I could have done this if I did it naturally. So that's when I was kind of thankful that I was having a C-section, but I didn't realize how quickly it would happen. So once we got there, we had to get checked in. So we parked in the garage. We had to get checked into labor and delivery. The people were asking me all these questions to see, like, I don't even remember what they asked. I think they asked about like insurance. I think they may have asked like when my water broke. I said when the water broke, and then they were asking about, I don't even remember I don't remember anything else that they were asking. Honestly, I'm not even gonna try to pretend. I don't remember. They asked me to sign something. I signed it, and my husband was standing right there. They asked me something else, and I couldn't even answer. And my husband had to answer for me because I was having a contraction. And I was sitting there like making a noise, and I was just I couldn't like, it was weird. Like whenever I would have a contraction, it's like I felt like my mind was just black, like nothing, like there was nothing there. Like I couldn't think of anything. All I could do was like make some weird noise and sit there and just like I was just shaking like this, like like that. That's all I could do. There was nothing else in my mind. Like there was no thoughts. There was just like pain and shaking and that's it. And like I couldn't even breathe through it. Like obviously I was breathing because I didn't pass out, but I couldn't do like I don't know. I don't even know how people breathe through the daggone contractions, but I know I couldn't do it. So anyways, I heard the lady call, like when she saw that my contractions were coming like close, she called someone, I guess like the on-call nurse the charge nurse or whatever, and she was like, yeah, we've got a patient here who her water broke and she's contracting and blah, blah, blah. I don't know, that's all I remember hearing, and something, and then she told us, okay, she's gonna come back and get y'all. So I had to pee. So I walked. I had 2 towels. So I had my dress on. I had 2 towels. The back of my dress was soaked, but I had a towel behind me. 2 towels I was holding behind me, and then I wound up trying to put it between my legs. But my dress was a sundress, and it was down to the floor. So it was just all bad. So me and my mom went to the bathroom together, and I peed. And she told me, she said, if you feel like you gotta poop, do not push. And I was like, okay. I was like, I don't. I just have to pee. So we went to the bathroom, and I started, I peed, and then I started having a contraction, so I couldn't move again. But by then I had finished peeing, and I was out, and I was washing my hands, and I started having a contraction or whatever. And every time I had a contraction, like I just had to stop because I just couldn't deal. So anyways, that was over. We went back, saw my husband. He was standing there. They had my mom wait in the waiting room, and then the charge nurse came, started walking with me and my husband. They took us to some room. And then they had another nurse come in, and she was like, okay. She started asking us questions. She said, here, get undressed, put this on, and then lay here, and I'm going to come in, and I got to do a cervical check or whatever to see how far dilated you are. I was like, okay. So got undressed and everything. And then me and my husband looking at each other like, oh shoot, like it's about to happen, like was like we're gonna see how far apart how far dilated you are, whatever, like, oh, like the baby's coming today, like are you ready? Like it was just crazy. So the lady came in to do my cervical exam, and before she started the exam, I had I think 2 or 3 contractions, and I was on the bed and I was shaking. So when she was asking me questions, I couldn't answer because, like I said, in my mind, every time I had a contraction, my mind went completely blank. And I was shaking, and she was like, I don't know what the heck she asked me, but I just know I couldn't answer whatever the heck question she asked me. And I was shaking, and I was just like, just like leave me alone. Like, don't say anything to me right now. Just like leave me alone. Like, let me just get through this. And then I know that she said, when you get through this next contraction, I'll do your check. And I was like, mm-hmm. And I just like, like I was just shaking, like sitting there shaking. And it was hurting so bad. And I felt like there was like nothing to hold on to. Like I just didn't know what to do. So once it was over, like once the contraction was over, it's the craziest thing. Like my mind just came back to itself. I was completely normal again. It's like I went through like serious agony, and then it was over and everything was completely normal again. So once it was over, she's like, okay, let me hurry up and do your cervical exam, cervical check. So she started doing the cervical check, and it hurt so bad. This is the second time I had a cervical check. I had a cervical check like the week prior, or a week and a half prior, because we thought that I don't even remember the reason why. I think we thought that my water broke, but it was like my mucus plug. I don't know, something happened, and we was in the hospital the week prior, and they did a cervical check. So anyways, she did a cervical check, and that the first one I had the week and a half or so prior, it hurt, but it didn't hurt as bad as this one. But I think this one hurt more because I think when she started doing it, I started having another contraction. So she started doing the cervical check, and I was like, ow, 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 like it hurt. And then I bust out, like my body started shaking, and every time I was shaking, I was having a contraction. So that's why I think I was having a contraction when she was doing it, and it was hurting so bad. And I like started like screaming, and I was like crying, like sobbing, crying, like I was a little kid in there crying, like like crying bad. And my husband he like grabbed my hand. He was like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I was like, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Like it was just, that was traumatic, because it's like I felt like I was being attacked in a way, because I was laying there and something was being done to me that I couldn't control, meaning the cervical check, which I knew had to be done, but it was being done, and I felt like it was so rough, and it hurt really bad. And I just felt like it shouldn't hurt this bad. Like when I see videos of people getting cervical checks, like it never seems to hurt them like that. Like it may be a little uncomfortable, but that mess hurt. And I don't know if it was just because of the contraction or what, but my husband thinks that it was my husband and my mom, because I told my mom too. My mom is a nurse. She told me she thinks that the person who did it was a new nurse, or like a student or whatever, who did it, and who was still learning, and probably hasn't been doing it long because of how rough it was. And so anyway, she did the check, and after she did the check, she took her hands out and she just ran out of the room. And we looked at each other like, okay. And I'm like, did she say how far apart, like how far dilated I was, whatever? And he's like, no. So then next thing you know, 2 other people just come running in all quick with stuff in their hands and placing stuff. And I'm like, hi, do y'all know how far dilated I am? And they're like, yeah, you're about 5-6 centimeters. And I'm like, what? Like my water just broke. Literally, my water had just broke like an hour and a half ago. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, it's about 5-6 centimeters. And I was like, okay, so what are you doing? They're like, oh yeah, we're about to prep you for your C-section. I said, but wait, because I had just ate. Remember I told you guys, when me and my mom got to the house, we started eating. And when you're having a scheduled C-section or a C-section period, you're not supposed to have anything to eat for 8 hours prior. And also my doctor was not there. Her office is inside the hospital, but her office opens up at 9 a.m. It was before 6 a.m. at this point. So it was almost 6 a.m. So I was like, wait, okay, well, Dr. Crable's my doctor. I'm trying to sit here and reason with them. I'm like, Dr. Crable's my doctor. Her office opens up at 9. Then I'm having a contraction, like, like I'm sitting up here trying to get them to stop rushing. Like we have to chill. Like we gotta wait till my doctor gets here. Like we have to wait. And they're like, we can't wait that long. Like this baby's coming. We cannot wait that long. So they're like, we have to get you prepped. Like it was an emergency to them. And I found out later on that they could have waited a lot longer. So anyways, let me get through the story. So they decided they were going to prep me or whatever. So I got scared. They just said that they had to take me out of the room to give me like the spinal. I did not get an epidural. I got a spinal block. So I talked to the anesthesiologist. He came into the room first before they took me out, and he told me like if you do not, it was a black anesthesiologist, and I told him, like, I was like, look, my biggest fear is, that I'm going to die or get paralyzed. I said, please do not let that happen. And he's like, I think that's what I said, but I do remember those are my biggest fears, and I remember mentioning it. So we're just gonna go with that. So he said, if you're not able, he said something like, if you're not able to sit still while I'm giving you the spinal block, then I'm gonna have to put you to sleep. And I was like, no. No, I don't. I said, no, I do not want you to put me to sleep. And he just it's like he kept repeating it. Like, I felt like he said it multiple times, and I felt like he wanted to put me to sleep. And I feel like that's because, like, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like they say those type of things because that's really what they want to do, because it probably costs more money to be put to sleep than to just get a spinal block. That's my thought process, because it's all about money at the end of the day when you're in a hospital. So I felt like maybe he just wanted to put me to sleep because then it's more medicine and more money or whatever. So I was like, no, but I didn't want to be put to sleep because I wanted to hold my baby. I wanted to see my baby, hear my baby, and hold my baby after she came out. Those are my things. So I'm like, no, I already don't want to be having a C-section. You're not about to be doing surgery while I'm asleep. So he was like, okay, well, you're gonna have to sit completely still. I was like, okay, whatever, I'll do it. But I was shaking, like my whole body was shaking so bad. He was like, if you're not able to control that, you have to be put to sleep. So, which is out of my control. It's a contraction. What do you expect? So anyways, he was like, I'll do it in between. So they took me to the other room. They told Terry to get ready. So he got ready with his gown on, or not gown, but like the little white outfit that they give them. And then they wheeled me over to the room, and they had Terry sit outside until it was time for him to come in. So a nurse was in front of me. They told me to sit up, and I was hunched over like this. Let me turn this way. So I was hunched over. There was a nurse in front of me. And I asked her, could I hold on to her? I was like, I don't have anyone to hold on to, because first I would just have my hands down on my knees, and I was like, no, because I'm not good with pain. So I was like, can I hold on to you? And she said, yeah, it's fine. Go ahead. That's going to help you to stay still. Da, 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 da. I was like, okay, cool. So I was holding on to her, and I was like, like, please, like, I was just telling myself, like, do not move, do not move, do not move. But when so what happened with the spinal block, first they put in like a needle that's going to numb you, like a numbing needle, numbing medicine or whatever. And that felt like fire, like on your back. It felt like fire going in. And I don't know how big it was or whatever, but they said the numbing needle, I think, is smaller than the spinal one. So when I felt the numbing one go in, that is what I was like holding on for dear life for. And I was like, and I was like saying, I was cussing. I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh my gosh, oh shit, when they were putting it in. And then when it was finished, it was still burning, but it was okay. It was just like, I had to get through that pain. So they let that go through, they let that sit for a little bit, and then they was like, okay, now we're about to put in the spinal. And I was like, oh my gosh, is it gonna hurt? Is it gonna hurt? And he was like, no, you shouldn't even feel this one, you should just feel pressure. I was like, okay. So then they put that one in, I was like, ooh, like, I was just like, ooh, like, cause I was scared. So I was like, ooh, cause I didn't want to move. I was terrified of being paralyzed. So I would just like please don't move, please don't move, please don't move. Like, I was so scared. So anyways, they got that done, and I didn't get paralyzed apparently because I'm able to move and stuff. So yeah, I was able to sit through it and get through it, and I'm glad about that. It was crazy, but I couldn't feel anything. So my anesthesiologist, he rocked it. He did a great job. I'm glad that I didn't have an epidural, because I know with that they have the catheter that sticks out of your back. And a lot of people, when they have the epidural, sometimes like years later, they can still feel pain on their back, or like they have shooting pains or whatever. I've heard a lot of people say that. And I don't have any issues at all. I don't feel anything with my back. So, and that's with the spinal. So I 100% love the spinal that I got. And the next time I have a child, I will ask for a spinal again. After that, my husband came in, and he was like looking at me like this, because his mouth was covered. So all I saw him do was this. But I know what he was doing, like, with his mouth. And so I'm like, are you ready? He's like, yeah, or something like that. I think that's what the conversation was, like, are you ready? I think that's what we said to each other, or he was like, this is crazy or something. I believe that's what we said to each other. And I think he gave me a kiss. I remember that he moved his mask and I moved mine, and we gave each other a kiss. I had a bonnet on my head because I had these braids and I have a braid bonnet. And like I said, when my water broke, I was in bed ready to go to sleep. So I had my bonnet on, my braid bonnet. So it's a silk braid bonnet as well. So, I still had that on when I got to the hospital, and I still had it on for the surgery. They didn't have me put anything else on my head, I guess because I had the bonnet on. So they didn't tell me to put like a cap or whatever on because I had that on. So I had pictures from the C-section. My husband took pictures from the C-section. He was standing there. He wanted to see everything. I wanted them to use a clear drape, but they used a blue one. They said they was going to show me the baby and stuff. So like, okay. Because they were asking me different questions, but I didn't have the birth plan with me or my phone with me, so I couldn't remember everything that I wanted. But I had a whole list. I'm gonna show y'all the list for the birth plan that I had for my C-section. Everything that I wanted, because I didn't get none of it, except for the spinal. I said I didn't even. I even had in my birth plan that I did not want any contractions. I did not want to go into labor. I didn't want any contractions, and boom, it happened. I think I wanted music. We didn't have any music. I wanted the essential oils diffused in the room. We didn't have that. Like, there's just so much that I had on that list, and none of it. The whole plan was just shot out the window. But one thing that happened after, so when they started, I kept asking my husband, did they start? He's like, no, they're about to. Oh, they started. And like, he was watching, he was telling me, yeah, they started, they're doing this now, they're doing that now. And I was like, is she out? And then when they finally got her out, I don't remember how long it took. It really wasn't that long. It was probably just a matter of minutes, but to me it felt like I was there for an hour. And well, I know altogether I was there for at least an hour because they had to stitch me up and stuff, but I mean before they pulled her out, it seemed like it was like an hour because I was so anxious and ready for her to come out, and I just wanted to make sure. And I remember telling my husband at one point, just talk to me and don't let me fall asleep. I was like, please don't let me fall asleep, because I was terrified of falling asleep because I've never had surgery before. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't want to, honestly, I just did not want to die on that table. And oh, I didn't even tell y'all about the drama that happened. So remember I told y'all about how I wanted my doctor there? Okay, so they called my doctor, and my doctor, she lives 5 minutes away from the hospital. So they called her and they told her that I was in labor or whatever, and that I was there, how far along I was. And she told them, which I didn't know at the time, she told them, okay, I'm on my way, I'll be there, just wait. Mind you, she lives 5 minutes away. So they are sitting there telling me, we can't wait, we gotta prep you. Another doctor, a white lady, came in and she said, hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so. I said, hi. And she was like, I'm gonna be doing your C-section. I said, okay. I said, well, Dr. is my doctor. I said, we can't wait for Dr. She's like, no, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to wait that long because, you know, you're pretty far dilated and you had a scheduled C-section, blah, 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 blah. Just saying stuff. So I was like, okay. Like, I was just like trying to process everything. Like, this random doctor that I do not know, I have never met in my life, is talking about she's about to do surgery on me. I don't know her. I wasn't okay with it, but I was like trying to stay calm. I was like, okay, if this is how it has to be, then okay. But I wasn't okay with it. I was just like, okay, like that, like really, like, so that's why I'm saying, like, the situation was traumatic for me because of how everything was happening, like, super fast. And it's my first time, and it was a doctor that I didn't know, and I was scared. My body was shaking. Even once they gave me the spinal, my body was still shaking with every contraction. I couldn't feel the contractions anymore, but my body was still shaking. And it wasn't because of the spinal, it was because of the contractions. So next thing you know, they had started prepping me. They had laid me down, started cleaning me or doing whatever the heck they had to do. They had to go. I had already shaved, but not shaved completely or the best. I planned on shaving again later, but I didn't know that I didn't know that my water was going to break. So they were like, okay, we have to shave you a little bit more or whatever. So they just shaved a little bit. So they did that. And then my doctor walked in. My doctor walked in and she was like, I told y'all if she came and laying them out. She's like, I told y'all on the phone to wait. I told y'all that I was going to be here. No, I'm delivering her baby. And I was like, and I just felt like such a relief. When she walked in, I was like, whew, like God, thank you. Like, thank you. I was so happy and so relieved that my doctor walked in and was ready to deliver my baby. And she was like, y'all need to just not be in such a rush. She was like, I told you all I was on my way. I was around the corner. She was like, I'm delivering her baby because she was like, she has fibroids that you all don't know about, or you all don't know where they are. She was like, and the baby is breech. I will be delivering this baby. So I was just smiling. And then I was like, I told my husband, I said, I'm so glad Dr. was here. I'm so glad Dr. was here. Like, the bond that a woman develops with her OB, especially while pregnant, I didn't realize how strong it was until it was time for me to go under the knife. And because I was terrified, I did not want that other lady delivering my child. I don't know her. And I was like, no, like, I really wanted Dr. to be there. So anyways, she walked in literally like 2 minutes right before they were about to start. And then the other doctor came up to me and she's like, oh, well, Dr. here, so I guess I'll just be helping out and not doing the delivery. I said, okay, that's fine. Like, great, that's fine with me. So like, get out my face, go ahead, do what you gotta do. So they went in, so they started cutting me open. So my husband was like, okay, they're starting, they're cutting you open, they're doing this, they're doing that. I was like, okay, is she out? Is she out? So they finally got her. So once she was out, she wasn't crying. So they was like, she's out. I was like, oh, and I think they showed her to me and my husband. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then they moved her away and they took her and started doing stuff to her. And I was just like listening, like waiting to hear her cry. And I just like listening. And I was like, why isn't she crying? Like, why isn't she crying? And I was like, it's something wrong. And he's like, no, nothing's wrong. Okay, so then why isn't she crying? And I was still listening, like, why isn't she crying? Why isn't my baby crying? And then, like, maybe like a minute later, she started crying. She started crying because she heard me asking. I already know. My baby knew my voice. She knew that her mom was not playing. She was like, let me start crying so this lady can shut up. So that's what happened. But no, she started crying. And I was like, okay, like, I just need to hear her cry and know that everything was fine. So that was cool. She started crying, and they brought her over. My husband went over, took some pictures of her, came back over to me, and then they brought her over to me. But before they brought her over to me, I guess I don't remember this happening, but we just had my doctor's appointment. My follow-up doctor's appointment was last week. And my doctor talked to us about what happened during my delivery, and she filled us in. My husband knew that this happened, but me and him never discussed it. And I didn't know, I don't remember it happening because I was just on medicine and just drugged up, and I don't remember. So I guess he never thought to talk about it with me. So during, I guess, when they were holding my child and stuff, or getting her together, cleaning her up, when my husband was back talking to me, at some point I had asked to hold my baby. I said, where is she? Or I just want to hold my baby, something like that. And apparently I could have already been holding her. And for some reason, one of the nurses was just holding her, and my doctor was like, can you give my patient her child? And they were like, and the nurse was like, well, I'm trying to do a count. But she said that the nurse was holding my baby and just like rocking her like this and counting stuff, like doing whatever count they're supposed to do. My mom is a nurse. She knows whatever count it was. And my mom was like, yeah, she didn't need to hold Rose while she was doing that count. She could have gave Rose to someone else, and that person could have gave Rose to you. So anyway, basically the lady was just being weird and wanted to hold and rock my baby while she was supposed to be doing something else. So she didn't want to let the baby go, which was just really weird. And she like, and my doctor was like, it's the weirdest thing, I've never seen that before. And so basically my doctor had to advocate for me. It was like, no, my patient wants her child, give her her child. Like, what are you doing? Give her her child. So they brought the baby over. I wound up holding her or whatever. I don't even remember how I was holding her. But they made sure that my husband was right there. And so that I wouldn't drop her. I didn't drop her. I felt like my arms were fine. I couldn't feel anything like from I don't know how far up it was, but I couldn't feel like my legs or my stomach or anything. I could feel my arms still kind of. And so, yeah, I just was holding her, and I had pictures of that. I'll insert that. And it was nice. So then, because the fibroids, one of the fibroids, the one that Rose used to kick out and push out all the time, that was near my belly button, they wound up taking that one out. And that was one of the small fibroids. I have a picture of that, and I'm going to insert it right now. So they showed me that fibroid, and they said, well, I heard my doctor say, she said, hey, Robin, I'm going to take out one of these fibroids because this was after Rose was already out. She said, hey, Robin, I'm going to take out one of these fibroids because this one is already dead. I said, okay, cool. So prior to my C-section, me and her had discussed not removing the fibroids because she said that it could cause too much bleeding during the surgery. She said, and also it would be better to take them out like a year before I want to have the next child because scar tissue could form again later on within 5 years or something. So it's better to wait like a year or so before you want to have another child to get the fibroids removed. So that's what we plan on doing. But she said she can go ahead and take this one out because it's already dead. So let's just get this one out the way. So I said, okay, cool. So we did that. They brought it over to me. They said, do you want to see it? I said, yes. So they brought it over to me. So this is the small fibroid. I also have a huge fibroid that was supposed to be blocking my cervix from her head from getting out. But they could feel her feet when I was 6 centimeters dilated. When they did my cervical check, they did another cervical check before my surgery. They did another cervical check before my doctor came in there. And when they checked me that time, it didn't hurt. And they said that they could feel her feet. So I don't know if I would have gotten completely 10 centimeters dilated. I don't know if she would have been able to move past it or not. But the reason why, part of the reason why we were doing the C-section was because that 10 centimeter fibroid was blocking her from getting out. But since her feet was able to be, her feet could have probably gotten past, but I don't know if the rest of her body would have gotten past because 10 centimeters is the same size as what her head would have been. Yeah, that's the same size as the baby's head. Or a baby's head could be probably like a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, but give or take 10 centimeters. Okay, so yeah, they got the fibroid out. They got my baby out. I was holding my baby. They stitched me up and everything was done. They wheeled me to the room and my husband was right there. I had to do the COVID test. I was actually supposed to get the COVID test. I was supposed to go to the hospital that same day to get my COVID test 2 days prior to my scheduled C-section, but I wound up going into labor. So they had to do a rapid COVID test. That came back negative, and my husband was good, so he was able to go with me, but my mom was there in a waiting room. They wouldn't let her into my regular room once we had the baby for a couple hours because they had to do another, like a nasal COVID test. So they did another COVID test of my nose, and that one took a few hours. So my mom could not come in until that one came back negative. Even though the first one came back negative, they had to wait for the real long nasal COVID test to come back negative as well, and then I could have visitors. So we can only have one visitor per day. And so my mom was there the first day. His grandmother and his mom came to the hospital as well on other days. So yep, we were in the hospital for a total of, we checked in on the 26th. Was it? Yeah, because she was born on the 26th. Duh. So we checked in on the 26th. Around 5 something, she was born at 6:46 a.m. and we left on the 29th. So she was born on Wednesday. We left on Saturday. And yeah, so we were there for 4 days. So another thing that happened while I was in the operating room was they had asked me so quickly, and I was kind of out of it still, like mentally kind of still out of it because of the drugs and everything, because of the drugs that they give you, you know. So they had asked me, do I want to donate my placenta? And when they asked me that, I was kind of like, I guess, even though I knew in the back of my mind that that's not the plan that I had, but I didn't know about, how hard it was going to be for them to let me keep my placenta, because at one point I knew that they had already detached it from her, and I wanted her originally on my birth plan. I wanted her to have a delayed cord cutting because I wanted her to get the extra blood back into her. But since they didn't do that, I had also, while I was pregnant, I had looked up placenta encapsulation. But it had cost, I was like, I don't know if I want to pay for that because it cost a lot more than I expected it to be. It wasn't too bad. It was only like $200 some. But I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to pay for it. And, but I did still want it, especially since she did not have a delayed cord clamping, or cord cutting or whatever. So when I said to them, when they asked me, did I want to donate my placenta, I was like, okay, I guess. Like, I was kind of unsure. My husband, he was right there next to me. He said, but wait, he was like, wait, I thought you wanted to eat your placenta. That's what he said. He's like, I thought you wanted to eat your placenta or encapsulate your placenta, something like that. And I was like, yeah, I do. And he's like, well, why don't you say it before they take it away? And I was like, well, you tell, like, just tell them. And I don't know, why I didn't speak up and say it. And so he was like, excuse me. I was like, get the nurse. So he was like, excuse me. And he got the nurse, and he was like, he was like, she wants to encapsulate it. And then she asked, she's like, oh, you want to do the encapsulation? And I was like, yes. And so they're like, okay. So then she's like, okay, well, we'll get it and we'll give it to you in a box, and it'll stay cool in the cooler or whatever. Not box, but a cooler. So it'll stay cool in the cooler for 4 hours. And then after that, it's no good. So whoever's going to encapsulate it, they need to pick it up within 4 hours. So I was like, okay, cool. Because it needed to stay cool. I guess the cooler was only going to keep it cool for 4 hours, and it needed to be refrigerated or whatever the heck it needed to be done. So the lady, so my husband started looking up the encapsulation people, and he actually found the same person that I wanted to originally get to encapsulate the placenta. So he reached out to them. Once we got back to the room, once we got to the room that we were going to be in, he reached out to those people, that person, and it was the the Dallas Placenta Encapsulation. I think that's the company name. And they did a great job. So they came the same day. They picked up the placenta from my husband within like 2 hours or so. They came, picked up the placenta. My husband took it downstairs and met up with the lady because I was in the bed. I couldn't do anything. I was, still numb, hadn't walked at that point yet. And yeah, so 3 days later, before we left the hospital, I think, the day that we were leaving the hospital, whatever day it was, my husband met with the lady again to pick up my placenta pills. So basically, I got placenta pills. She gave me, here's my placenta pills. Let me cover up my name. So yeah, I have placenta pills in here. This is what they look like. Oh, shoot. So they just look like regular pills. Let me see. Yeah, they just look like regular pills. Hold on, let me pick these up. Okay, so in addition to the pills, so with the pills, you take the first week, you take 1 to 3, you take 1 to 2 capsules 3 times daily. Week 2, you're supposed to take 1 to 2 capsules 2 times daily, and week 3, 1 to 2 capsules 1 time daily. So I typically take 2 capsules per day. I never took them. Yeah, well, in the beginning, I was taking it 3 times a day, but then I stopped, and I just been taking them 2 times a day. Sometimes if I just take it once a day, that's fine, regardless. I don't take more than 2 pills per day. She also gave me a placenta tincture. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so this is the placenta tincture. So the placenta tincture, it's not finished fermenting. I cannot use it until July 8th. She has it written on here. Let me see. Yeah. So July 8th is the first day that I can start using it. So the placenta tincture can only be used by me and Rose, because it was our shared placenta. Well, really her placenta, but my body created it, so I'm okay with using it, and she's okay with receiving it as well. So with the tincture, I think it's supposed to be basically like if you're ever feeling sick, if you're ever feeling times of stress, if illness, anything, any sickness, any illness, anything like that, even if it's like mental, if you're sad, stressed, anything like that, you can do like 1 or 2 drops or something like under your tongue or whatever, or in a drink, and drink it, and it'll help. It makes, just makes it better or whatever. And lastly, I also received a placenta print. So this is a print of my placenta, and I kept it in this bag. I have not taken it out of this bag. I don't think that I will. So they made the bottom into like a little heart, and then someone had pointed out to me like, oh, it's a smiley face in here as well. It looks like a smiley face in the placenta. They're like, that's how you know your baby was happy, when it looks like a smiley face. And actually, that's not it. I also have a piece of her placenta, so let me get that. Oh, I think it's right here. Yep. I have it right here in her drawer. It's in this box. So this is the bottom part where they made it like a little heart. So this is part of my and Rose's placenta. Yep. So yeah, this was my birth story, and thanks so much for watching. Yeah, again, it was pretty traumatic for me. You guys may not see it that way, but I'm glad that I had my doctor there to stand up and advocate for me. I'm glad that I had my husband there to remind me of some of the things that I did want, and also to help keep me calm, because he definitely helped keep me calm in there. He made sure that I didn't fall asleep. He talked to me, and yeah, and he made sure that I got my placenta encapsulated like I wanted, and I didn't just let them take it and donate it to whoever, whatever they were trying to do. I'm glad he mentioned that to me. Yeah, and I'm thankful for the anesthesiologist for not, putting me to sleep, and for me not going paralyzed and all of that. And I'm glad my daughter came out happy and healthy. So yep, it's been 4 weeks. I'm really excited. She's growing super quick. She came out, she was 7 pounds and 1 ounce. She had dropped down in weight while we were at the hospital to 6 pounds 13 ounces was the lowest that the lowest she got was 6 pounds and 13 ounces. By her checkup, when we went back to the doctor, not to my doctor, but when we had to leave the hospital and we went to the pediatrician, she was back to 7 pounds and 1 ounces within like 5 days. So that was really good. Then her 2-week appointment, she was 7 pounds and 8 ounces. So she doesn't have another appointment for a couple weeks. And I'm excited to see how much she weighs, because this girl eats a lot. And yeah, so I'm happy that she's here. I love her to death. That's my little stink. And yeah, thanks so much for watching this video. If you guys have any crazy birth stories, let me know in the comments down below. If you have an experience that was similar to mine, where you had a super fast labor or unplanned, where you had a planned C-section that turned into an unplanned C-section, then let me know below. So yeah, thanks so much for watching this video. And if you have not subscribed to my channel already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for more, because I have more content coming up soon. It's just a lot right now with the baby. I haven't been filming as much as I want, but I will start doing it again soon, guys. I promise. Just wanted to get this video out there for you guys to celebrate my baby being here for 4 freaking weeks. So yes, she's here, she's happy, she's healthy, I'm doing good. Yep. Alrighty, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.